Here comes the People's Security Monitor on your classy Citizen FM 93.7, a program designed to serve as a platform to raise suggestions on how best to improve Nigeria's security system in collaboration 11 a.m. to 12 noon on 93.7 Citizen FM Abuja. Remember, Nigeria's security is our collective responsibility.
On your classic Citizen FM 93.7 in Abuja, the capital city of Nigeria. Our cardinal responsibility on People's Security Monitor is to serve as a platform to raise suggestions on how best to improve the nation's security system, especially as it concerns our various
3.7 Nigeria's security system in collaboration with our security agencies and the citizenry. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 noon on 93.7 Citizen FM Abuja. Remember, Nigeria's security
from its school since 2021. Gangs of men on motorbikes took primary and secondary school children beat. Nigerian troops are still working with the police and local search teams to comb forest within the state of Kaduna, where the Kuraga is located, as well as
Here comes the People's Security Monitor on your classy Citizen FM 93.7, a program designed to serve as a platform to raise suggestions on how best to improve Nigeria's security system in collaboration with our security agencies and the citizenry. Every Monday,
Ladbaja Brigadier General Moyo Akinjo, commander of the 41 Engineering Brigade, emphasized the importance of training journalists in conflict reporting to ensure accurate coverage. We take a short break, and when we return, we shall be going straight into our people's security. Security forces swept through large forests in Nigeria's northwest region on Friday in search of nearly 300 children abducted from their school by motorcycle riding gunmen in the latest mass kidnapping, which analysts and activists blamed on the failure of intelligence and its slow security response. The abduction of the 287 children in Kaduna State, near the West African nation's capital, is one of the largest school kidnappings in the decade since the kidnapping of schoolgirls in Borno State, Chibok. Where he will be telling us more about the recent mass abduction of school children. And with me in the studio, we have Abuja top of the class journalist, John Chooks. John Chooks is one of the classy journalists we have in the Federal Capital Territory, and he's been of decades of experience. He will also be, talking about the military plan to involve a journalist in its operation and general security of journalists in Abuja.
In the most robust manner, no police post in any village or police division, either civil defense or DSS or whatever, can do anything. It has to be a collective effort. And for this collective effort to be effective, the security agencies must coordinate their operations. They must gather intelligence.
Okay, sir. Hello, sir. Your friend in the studio, John Chooks, is with me here in the studio. Live with me in the studio here. A lot of people will argue that the same methodology that has not changed anything. Is it not high time we begin to do something drastically from the old style of resolving this issue of bandits. But before you answer that question, let me remind our listeners again that they can be part of this conversation by calling us on 090-3222-9797. The number again is 090-3222-9797. John Chooks, you've had it all. More than 300 school children within a space of 3-4 days. How?
The students are just there on their own with their teachers, or a school in the neighborhood. These are questions we should start interrogating. We can't continue having this kind of.
I agree with you that the issues of security are dynamic in some sense, but I don't understand when you say the same methodology. I talked about proactiveness.
Okay.
And this proactiveness is driven by information available through an early warning system.
Okay.
When you don't have information available, how do you? It is a problem of we, the community, and it's a problem of law enforcement. Therefore, we must come together to solve it. That's the way to go about it. And that is why if you establish an early warning system which is driven by timely information to the right people at the right time, first of all, they are able to proactively deal with the situation by raiding their hideouts. The other thing that can be done is to have a kind of simulation within the Northwest. And then you can also include Niger. You can also include Niger State. The advantage of having a simulation exercise is to be able to play it out as if it is in the real way. So when you do it like that, as if it is in the real way, what you are talking about is that you look at it. If this thing happens, what is our reaction likely to be? Interview of the governor of Kaduna State. The indication that gives me is that a lot is being done on the ground. And I think at the appropriate time, the police commissioner of Kaduna State or any officer so appointed is going to brief the press. The reason being that when things like this reach a certain stage, you don't want to give us so much. And I think that's what is happening. That's why information.
Okay, sir.
Just imagine no longer a service. But what I'm trying to say is that the public must give support. The government must come with a policy on the use of motorbike. And we cannot have a country of law and we have motorbike that are being used. They are not registered. And this is a big caution and warning to the FCT that the operation against Okada must be taken seriously. Because if 50 bike, 100 bike can just invade the nation, people, there is nothing you can do. The moment, even if they carry a head on the bike, are you going to fire at the rider?
Yeah, hello, sir.
Injury to the person that is
hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, you just put
Of people by some persons. That's not what I think that happened in Kaduna over the weekend.
Okay, John Chooks. AIG, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Chooks has just said that it was all a ploy, to blackmail the government or to do some other, to achieve some other, mischievous goals. I don't know if you will align with John Chooks.
Well, if I were Commissioner of Police Kaduna, I would not talk about, and that's where we hold them accountable. So we need to hold our security agencies accountable. We shouldn't be talking about, some people are going to make the government unpopular and all that. Yeah, the government has it to also, because the government has all the apparatus. All the instruments of national power are in the hands of government. And government has to rise up to the occasion. So what we should be talking about is what can we do? How do we get in? How do we get information? How is the DSS and the police working? How is the military intelligence, the DSS, the police inside the civil intelligence unit? How are they working together? Because when you are talking about kidnapping, you are talking about intelligence. There is no other trick. There is no other strategy. The number one strategy is intelligence about the presence of these criminals in the bushes and forests of those locations. When they are not operating, when they are in sleeper cells, how are they being monitored? So if they have been operating for
we do not have enough security operatives on ground to take charge of security, and this seems to be taking its toll heavily here and there. They argue that this particular mass abduction has really given kind of psychological trauma to school children, and this morning the government has come out that some schools have been flagged as danger zones, where bandits can easily go in and take away the children. But before you respond to this, I will want Chris, John Chooks, to give us insight into this. Some schools have been flagged as danger zones as at this morning, and one wonders what impact will this have on education of those kids.
Well, I don't think there could be any implication.
Under threat, what we expect is that more security to be devoted to those spaces. And this is the time for the securities to begin to circulate. You see, you talked about number. In this case, number does not matter, because even if you have, for example, they went to that school with about 50 or so bike, and they could have two on the bike, so you have about 100 of it. Now, if you have a police state, 3 senatorial zones. Now, the states in the Northwest have large land areas, and there are areas that these attacks are likely to happen. Now, if they establish an early warning system, if they have an early warning system,
okay,
and based on the threat analysis we picked at the early warning and response center, when this information keeps coming, they'll begin to develop appropriate means of responding. So what the police has primacy on internal security, but you work on support in close collaboration. The first thing by now, the brigade commander, the director, DSS, the commandant civil defense in that state, and all of them, and then the operation officer should be discussing, getting intelligence, and the governor should encourage the local government chairman and the councillors and the chief to cooperate, because if the governor talks to them, they would tell you, give you that information that will help. So whatever you are gathering, and from the previous experience, you will utilize it. But it is not what the police or the DSS alone can go. They must come together so that they can increase their strength. That is what is so critical. So if I were in Kaduna State, the first thing I would do, I look at what has happened, and I look at the failures. Why were they able to breach our security? I will have to look at that.
Okay.
But the first thing I would do, I will go to the VI office, and I will find out if my motorcycles are registered. And first of all, any motorbike that is not registered, I regard it as suspicious.
Okay.
Because if the government does not come up with a policy on motorbike, that people can ride motorbike, and I'll tell the communities where you find 2-3 people, you've got to have a lot of focus. I am going to go to all the food sellers in the whole villages, anywhere, whether small restaurant, whether food seller on the way, you've got to, the DSS have to infiltrate them, because they need to feed these children, and that logistic problem should be able to expose them. So you are going to work on gathering intelligence. That is number one. And then if you have drones, that cannot alert them so that just like the banks, when the banks were being attacked in those days, they had this trigger.
Considering the insecurity situation in the country, you are, one of the top journalists in Abuja. How would you react to this?
Thank you, thank you, Mr. The issue of the military trying to embed defense correspondents into their planning operations is not a new thing. It has been there since time of Botai. Why the chief of army staff was even saying that Wahab was also saying same in Abuja here at a seminar of the not speculate to report accurately what they saw, and because we are there and everything. So those are the issues.
So generally, beyond the issue of the military getting journalists involved in their operations, what is it that will be your assessment of the security of Nigerian journalists, in general terms now?
What is security? Security is the state to be free from danger or threats. That's what security is about. Is a whole lot of problem. The journalists there, we are some of them in covering primary of a political party. It's always there. The target is to make sure that if there is a problem, the news does not go outside. Therefore, the journalist become a target. I think every journalist who has been on the beat must have faced one security issue or the other, one threat or the other in doing the job. If it's not going to infringe on national security or national interest, but the police and the security agencies should be able to understand that the journalist is trained to do a particular job. That is to inform, to communicate a larger society.
Nigerian Chicks, if I may ask you, what do you think, what collaborative effort do you think that journalist professional body, that is Nigerian Union of Journalists now, should be having, with security agents, all over? When I say security agents now, it goes beyond the military itself, the DSS and other security, agencies.
Well, yeah, thank you. For me, the leadership of Nigerian of Journalists should be able to do more.